Action.
Hey everybody, it's Halloween. Don't got a bunch of scary stories, just one. We'll talk about that at the last minute. It'll be a real short, real scary story, but to be continued. Let's see, what do we want to talk about tonight on the outsider view? Jimmy Dore. That guy bothers me. He talks about how he hates the cops so much. Always talking about how much he hates the cops. Okay, but then he's pro-Stalin. I don't get that. Makes up excuses for all the uh, horrible things that Mr. Stalin did, like it was okay or necessary. Jimmy Dore, you're a Bolshevik lughead. And you're not a free thinker. You make deals with a lot of these Reiki-wingy people, like Tucker Carlson and them. You're always on his show. And you make up excuses for the Nazi shits that try to take over, or did take over, the trucker strike stuff up in Canada going on. By the way, I have a cousin, Jimmy Dore. I have a cousin who was a truck driver in Ontario, so I got all the inside on that. And those were Nazis that were trying to take that over, or did take it over, and had an agenda that was not all what you want to make it look like. So you want to risk going over to being a national socialist instead of really a socialist, which you're not anyway because you're a Bolshevik, authoritarian, fascist. So anyway, enough said. You like Stalin, but you don't like the cops, unless, of course, I guess they're Stalin cops. So, all right, enough about Jimmy Dore. All right, January 6th. All these big wiggy politicians involved with January 6th, all these Republican guys, are all turning out to be like the big thing with them more than any of these other groups. Patriot Front, Three Percenters, Oath Keepers, Proudy Boys, is QAnon. Seems to be a big thing with the older farts that are the stalwart, good Christian conservatives. Scary stuff there. And we see a lot of that out here with this QAnon things. All right. Putin's draft. Mr. Putin started a draft. Now, I have dissident contacts in Russia and Ukraine, and I don't like any of that. There's a lot of dirty shit that goes on both sides. But the fact of the matter is, the Donbass region, those regions there, were originally Ukrainian, and Stalin did forced relocations back in the 19s and the 20s. So we're talking like 90 years ago or so. And removed all these people and then put Russian people there. So it's kind of like we did, with the Indians. We come and kick them all out and relocate them and then take their lands. Now, we live there. But same thing. And by the way, Jimmy Dore completely overlooks that too. Which is another dumb thing Jimmy Dore does. He lies. Anyway, Mr. Putin started a big draft mobilization. My dissident friends tell me it kind of pooped out, and a lot of people ran away. And I guess he to fill the ranks with people out of prison and from very poor parts of the country where they don't have very many options for anything, so they'll fill up their ranks with a lot of poor kids from the back country areas, and a lot of them also being recruited from prisons and stuff. That war seems Iran's involved now, and at home, of course, they're getting revolted against. Right on for the woman and the folks that back them up there in that revolutionary struggle in Iran, for sure. But Iran is like helping Russia with drones or something, and Russia's helping the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, training them in protest control. So they're helping each other. That's bad news bears there. And Mr. Putin is making crazy threats about using nuclear weapons. Wants to use nuclear weapons, and he makes the mirror image thing again. Or the other guys are gonna do a nuke thing, dirty bomb thing. So then, therefore, we can use nukes. That argument is starting to get kind of old. I don't see how some people believe it. And suck that down. That's another thing Jimmy Dore does. He sucks down Putin's bullshit. Okay, the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court. You want to talk about a bunch of fat, degenerate slobs that were probably, if Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's minister of propaganda, were alive today, they'd all be hanging out and partying together with the shit that comes out of our Supreme Court. You know, less than 25% of the American people now have no trust or faith in the Supreme Court. Their approval rating is that low, down to less than 25%. Trust them, or the direction they're trying to force us all into in this country. All this, the QAnon thing going on. And then in Supreme Court, Judge Clarence Thomas's wife was involved with stuff January 6th. You know, it's like, and are the Libbies really the big heroes in all this? Nancy Pelosi's husband getting attacked at their house, you know, like she's some great hero of the left or something. No, she ain't, okay? But at the same time, the nuts that are doing that are not what we want. And again, Jimmy Dore, it's not what we want. We don't take sides with people like that. They're even worse. Not that her shit don't stink, you know. She's a capitalist. She ain't no leftist, she no socialist or communist or anarchist or anything like that. You know, they're system people, you know. But that don't mean that, you know, you go take sides with these Trumpy, you know, real extremo, even worse. You know, their shit like double stinks. So it's like, you know, you're jumping, how they say, from the frying pan into the fire, folks. Not a very good idea. I think we can find something else for some solutions in this country, you know, and we have to get away from this big capitalist plutocracy running things, you know. And I advise people to check out Dr. Paul Ehrlich's interviews on YouTube. He's the famous Stanford scientist who wrote the famous book, The Population Bomb, in 1965. And these are interviews he did, I believe, during the 80s, and they sound like they're right today. And he hits the nail on the head about all this stuff, you know. And I am a member of the Zero Population Growth Society that he founded, which is a good idea. There's this all comes down to too many of us, and the few who control, who made all the mistakes and screwed shit up, seem to think they're the ones that get to survive in their bunkers, and that's why we keep hearing all these explosions all across the country underground, because the big boys are down there building their bunkers, because they ain't all got rocket ships like Elon. They don't all get to go to Mars. Just Elon does. All right, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Death, and his bioweapon scientist wife. You know, Dr. Fauci from the National Institute of Health. He's already in a lot of trouble with a lot of the animal rights groups because he's made such horrible violations of the Federal Animal Welfare Protection Act, the way he treats animals there with experiments and stuff. He's like the Dr. Mengele of the animal world. But he's going to be retiring soon. And not only is he already in trouble because of the way he's been with the animal situation at his labs at NIH, but also because of his flip-floppy, two-faced talks about the vaccines and which are and whatnot with all that, covering up a lot of shit about really what happened and where that stuff come from and where it's all going. It's all the big boys making big bucks. And you kind of help but wonder the people that created that bug are the ones making all the money off the vaccines now, these big Pfizer, big pharma guys, Moderna, J&J. So, yeah, we've talked about that before. So, anyway, good riddance, Dr. Fucci. Retire, go away. Yeah, but you ain't off the hook. You're still a war criminal. You're still a kind of Dr. Mengele in my book. And last but not least, I haven't done a video in a while because a couple weeks ago or so, I got beat up by the cops when I got caught doing anti-Nazi, anti-QAnon street art work. And I was civil rights violated and horribly abused. And the legal rumble is just beginning to start about all that. And they're going to pay for what happened to me. And I'm lucky I didn't get killed. And we'll get into all what happened when we do a video about that incident in particular. But that's my Halloween story in a limited version for now. But yeah, I had a very scary night recently, you know. So that's all for that right now until the legal rumble is on. And it's just now starting. And no, they ain't getting away with this, you know. No. Chaining people up and beating them for that. No, I could have been killed. Anyway, we'll talk more about that at that time. So we'll let the lawyers, prepare for war. And yeah, because I'm like an alligator. And when something got done wrong to me or something I know I got to deal with to make right, I will make it right. I don't let go. Everybody knows me, knows that. Okay, we're done for the night. Everybody have a nice Halloween, as cool and creepy as you can, and have fun. And, we'll talk more other things we got coming up. We'll be doing more videos on, including what happened to me. And for now, the Pirate Republic, no quarter given, no mercy. Don't come down our road. Yes.